Well, as you can see, there's been a lot of shuffling of water and fish. This water here came from tanks 1 and 2 and 3. Originally, the water was getting really bad and this filter here couldn't handle it, so we took the fish out. So we dumped all the water out. When we first started, I put the pump in there, and in the bottom of the pump where the water goes in, it's got some pretty small holes. Well, guess what? I put the pump in there. It ran for about 10 minutes. It was doing good, and I guess the fish liked the humming. Next thing you know, fish are being pumped out there. So we lost 250 fish. They were put into the impeller, and you know what happens. So that was a hard lesson. Harder for the fish than me, but that was still a hard lesson. So then we brought this down, and we brought this down. We brought it down to about 70 centimeters. After doing more research, I found that tilapia really don't need very deep water. But that was not my biggest reason for bringing this down. My biggest reason for bringing this down was I never realized how difficult it is to maintain some clear water. Yeah, and we learned that here. Those fish were pretty small. And let me tell you, this water got dark very, very quickly because those fish are poop factories. So we moved them in here, and it was relatively clear water, and the same thing happened. That's why we moved some over to tank number 2. So right now I'm making these little drain things. One will go here, one will go here. The pipe will go this way. You'll have a pipe coming out of the water to right at the water level, connect to the pump, and then pump it on up to the filter. And what that'll do, it'll draw water from several places and hopefully get all the poop that's in the bottom and all that stuff, and cycle it through the filter and get better water quality for the fish. So yeah, we're learning as we go. Some very hard lessons, but hopefully we'll learn before the fish die. Yeah, okay. Hey, good morning, guys. So here we are. I'm gonna give you a little bit of an update and how I am changing the plan. As you well know, if you've been watching any of these videos, our biggest problem has been these tanks leaking. Unfortunately, it took me a while to really understand what the real problem was. And it wasn't the leaky tanks. It was the poop in the water and the filtration system. Yeah. Well, this is tank number 8. And this is where we started with the fish. And that was the original filter that we had put on there. And let me tell you, these fish were small. And this filter could not keep up with it. Now, my concept of what I needed to do and what really needed to happen were two different things and very far apart. The deal was that, first of all, there was not enough filter for the amount of water. Second of all, there was not enough oxygen for the amount of water. And the third thing is there was way too many fish for this size tank. Now, in my mind, there were little bitty fish and there was tons and tons of water. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Those little bitty fish produce a whole bunch of poop. And you have to get that poop out of there because it creates ammonia and it starts killing your fish. Now, I had done a little bit of research, and according to the research I did, as long as they were active, they were eating, everything was good. From one day to the next, came out, and there was a whole bunch of fish with their belly up in the air. So I took and drained half of this thing out, put new water, and it helped. Then we put a large pump in here to pump air in here, and they were okay with the oxygen. But then that didn't stop the fish from having problems. So I emptied this thing again, or half of it, and added more water. And each time it would slow down the problem, but not fix it. So what we did is we emptied this thing down to nothing and got the fish out of here. Well, problem on top of problem is I put a pump in here, turned it on for about 5-10 minutes, and the fish were okay. I mean, the bottom of the submersible pump was had very small holes, and it didn't seem to be a problem until it was. All of a sudden, there's 250 fish out there in the dirt, so I had to stop that. Then finally moved them over here. So what I did is I took this thing and brought it down to 70 centimeters, and it was still a problem, but it was better. Of course, all that was here was just one filter, or one set of containers to form one filter. That wasn't enough. So we got this guy to come out here. Supposedly he is an expert on this subject, and he was here yesterday. Gave us a lot of advice and what have you, so we made some changes. We added 3 more tanks, 2 pumps plus that air. We have 3 here with air going to this side. Today, we're gonna bring this thing down to 40 centimeters. Bring this fish and put them back in here and put 3 pumps in here to clear this water up. And once we do that, we'll move one of the filters back in here to clear up this water so that we can split this fish here. Now, we've ordered some pumps that are bigger than the ones we have because there just wasn't enough circulation going through the filters. Now, in my mind, I didn't see such a big issue of putting the water through the filters and keeping this thing clean. Let me tell you, it is a big, big issue. You cannot imagine how much these little fish poop. It is just simply amazing. So, you've heard the thing about the cart before the horse? That's what I did. So, instead of concentrating on tank number 6 and 7 leaking, I'm going to concentrate on this side because all this side here does not leak. So what I'm going to do, I am going to take the fish that we have now and set it up to where we can split them between these 4 tanks, which means that we have to buy 4 of those air pumps, put 6 cans or the equivalent of 2 filters per tank. I'll take the trash cans off this side and put them on this side so that they all have 2 filters. But before I move these into these tanks, I will make sure that water is clear before they go in there. The other thing that I will do, which you cannot see here, but you see the skimmer in here. Down here, there's 2 pickup points for this pump to pick up water and pick it up off the bottom. That will have to be installed in these tanks. This one here doesn't have it. So my advice to anyone out there that wants to set up some fish, set up your filters, clear your water, get your air, everything 100% set up before you introduce one fish. The other thing is, don't think that these little bitty fish will do well in the amount of water that you have because they're little. You have to actually limit the amount of fish that go in there because they poop their own body weight plus these little suckers poop tons and tons of poop, and it is just really hard to filter all this stuff out. And these filters here, throughout the day I have to clean them out and clean them out because they're just getting stuff out of here and going through the filter, so I have to keep cleaning them so that they can continue to remove some of the stuff. Now this water is a little clearer. This stuff is a little clearer than it was before. The other thing is, when you feed them, whatever food they don't eat, within the first 5-10 minutes, take it out. Because that will go down to the bottom and add to the problem. So, in my mind, I thought this would be a very simple thing. You put some filters, you put them in there, you rotate them. No, it's easier on paper than in real life. Let me tell you, it is a big problem. So that is what I will be working on, is trying to get this tank going, clear, and then number 2, and then number 3, and then number 4, until I get this side going and working properly and perfectly. I will not work on this side. Yeah, because I spent so much time trying to stop the leaks that I didn't do enough research, and I didn't really react to this thing fast enough. So yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Now, we've been losing anywhere from 100 to 150 fish per day. This morning, after this filters ran all night, we only lost 11. So it seems to be working, but it needs to get better. So I will continue to work on this and then go from there. Now, because this thing here is not adequate, what I'm thinking of doing is this. On every tank, on that little walkway, build a wall coming up this way, and on this wall, build a wall coming up, and then put 3 or 4 compartments here. And instead of having these cans, actually use that back section back there as a filter. So I would have to remove these little wall sections there, these little concrete slabs, and then I would take the pump into the first tank, go into the second tank, into the third tank, and if there's a fourth, into the fourth, and then back into here. So I would have to make this up a little bit taller so that this overflows into this, overflows into this, and so on and so forth. But you want that water to go down to the bottom, so I would have to come up with a way to pump this water to the bottom section, let it go through the filters, which in this case would be a net, and then fall down and come up to the bottom again, fall down and come to the bottom again until it gets to the 3rd or 4th compartment. And I would probably go with 4 compartments maybe. And then on the 4th one, you would do this. where the water cascades back into here. So I'm gonna have to look into that and check it out. So what I'm going to do here is I'm gonna bring this water down to probably I don't know, 40, 50 centimeters. Same thing with this. And then filter then and gradually add to this thing until I get it right. Yeah. I know that there's been a lot of videos and a lot of what seems to be repetition, but let me tell you, it is a big problem, it is a big hassle, and if you don't know, it's a big, steep learning curve. And that's what it has been for me, because I have no idea what I'm doing, and it's not easy. When you think of taking water and put it into a filter, how hard can that be? That's not the hard part. The hard part is how much water do you have to run through these filters so that you can adequately maintain clarity and filtration of that water. That's the hard part, you know. And according to this guy that was here yesterday, for that 70 centimeter amount of water that I have there, I have to run about 5,000 liters an hour through those filters. That's a lot of water. So yesterday after he left, we ordered 2 pumps. And it's not a matter of ordering 4 pumps and stuff. I ordered 2 pumps because I want to do these 2 tanks here. But the thing is, if I order the pumps and they don't work, then I have 4 pumps I can't use. So like I said before, I want to set up 1 tank, in this case 2, because that's what I've got now. And once I get it working, then monkey see, monkey do, then continue on to these 2 here. And then once I get this whole side going here, then come over to this side, stop those leaks, and set up this side. Yeah. So there it is. All right, let me continue doing what I'm doing here, and one of these days I hope I get it right. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Okay, so here we are. The water is starting to stabilize. It's a lot cleaner. I've got 3 pumps going to this thing. This pump here is 5,500 liters per hour. This one here is like 3,000, and this one here is like 3,500 per hour. So this water is rotating quite a bit. I've got some lines going in here with air. Now I have that 1-inch green hose going there. That will have to change to PVC, because the simple thing of that hose floating there restricts the amount of air that goes in here. So when this pipe is set up, it has to be perfectly level, with the pipe coming straight up and over instead of floating on top of the water and what have you. So yeah, but this morning there was only 2 dead fish, which is a first, and it's looking better. All right, thanks for watching.
ขอบคุณเจ้า
See you next time.
แล้วปะกันแฮมไมนะเจ้า
See you.
บ๊ายบาย